started. Okay, all right. We're going to do the review session of the pictures from the South Florida Fair.
Can I make a
Oh,
point while you're bringing that up?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you that as all of us are scoring these, they're getting closer and closer to many more better pictures and also higher scores. When we first started this, we were really working with some very low scores on a few. But the editing capability and what you guys are doing and seeing and how you're progressing with this as a group, those who have been committed and working hard on it, it's really a pleasure to see the growth. That's just my take.
I'm really impressed by the photos we've been seeing recently.
Yeah, this group was really, really nice. I can't wait to see what happens with the show when we start collecting those. Okay, can you see it?
Yes. And I want to say, Anne, it's a lot because of you, because what you taught us. That was a wonderful workshop, and I learned so much.
Well, we're not done, sweetie. We canceled the iPhone photography, and I think I'm going to go do another workshop on Photoshop Elements because I think we can benefit.
Oh,
So
that's so funny because I was thinking the same thing that maybe some people that didn't come to that one would want to, but even the people that did might need a reboot. So I think that's a great idea to do that.
Me too.
Okay, and I was telling a couple of people before, I'm getting a very nice response for the basic composition one. I think I have like 12 people already. And that's on Monday, and I'll send out another, and a couple of people even wrote to say, oh, I can't come, but I'll watch it if you record it. So that's
all good stuff.
Okay, who wants to talk about this, Anne?
Okay, so I am very impressed with the tack sharp of the picture. Know that when you send them to us in Dropbox and we post them, they're maybe not at the fullest size resolution that they originally were, but this is pretty tack sharp. And I also, if you look at it, it's kind of interesting the way this was caught because the one diver is going almost, it looks like over the head of the other one who's crouched on the board.
Yeah.
If you really kind of look at it, it just tells a little more of an interesting story. But I think that it's sharp. I think it lacks a little contrast. I think it was a little flat. I think if it just had a little more contrast and just a touch more color and a touch more clarity, it would jump it because it would bring the blacks out a little bit. But I think the composition is pretty good. Maybe I might have cropped a little more off from the left side because I don't think you need the ladder and the mush stuff over on the left. If you just took it in to where that blackboard where it's all black,
like right here.
Yeah, you'd still get the person on the bottom. And I think that would make a little stronger picture. It's very well done. It was a good composition. It really was. With the Ferris wheel on the back.
Okay.
Yes, I like the composition. I like the photo. Now, let me ask a general question. What I use is dehaze or unhaze
I was
filter.
going to say the same thing. That's funny.
That would work.
That would take care of this. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but that would take care of your contrast a little bit.
On the mentoring session that I did, which is on the recordings, if somebody wants to watch that, we used it on a lot of the pictures that just were lacking something, like a punch or something. And it was radical differences that it made by just whatever it does magically, the colors, it boosts the colors, it boosts the contrast, and the pictures, people were like, oh my God. What the difference was. Auto dehaze and regular dehaze. Sometimes the regular worked better, sometimes the auto worked better. So I told them just to try both of them. It's a click, and see what happens.
That in Elements?
Yes. It's under Enhance.
So here's another quick thing. If the photographer had stepped and moved a little bit more to the left, I believe, you would have gotten the board and the two divers in the sky and not blended in with the Ferris wheel. That's a very, very tough see. So, yeah, you gotta, you maybe will shoot and you wait a little bit more, but just kind of always look to see where things are in your background.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'll be talking about in the composition workshop, because I think that that's really important. Because this, you have to like work the subject. And this is very nice. It's a great shot, but it would have been a fabulous shot if I could have seen the divers more clearly without the interference of the Ferris wheel right behind them. Like if if the Ferris wheel was just off to the side a little bit, it would have been a 2 points more kind of picture. So I think that that whole thing of looking up, going higher, going lower, going to the right, going to the left, zooming in, zooming out, all while you're taking that one picture, that one scene, and you get 6 different images until you get the right one. One of them will be more than the others.
Well done.
Okay. Okay, I'll start with this one. I love this picture. I love the color. For some reason, the color here just grabbed me more than some of the other ones. And the negative thing about that is the color is also affecting the skin tones a little bit. Not a lot, but it's a little orangey tone to the faces that could be corrected if you knew how. But all of these colors and the turquoise around their faces, it was just something that it was happy. It's like it came onto the screen and I smiled.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on over here. That was my one question. I don't know whose picture this is and whether they can tell us that. It
It's
almost,
mine, and I have no idea.
oh,
Sorry.
okay. I didn't
guess-
know if
guessing
that
it's
was,
the top.
it looked like, a vignette, but it's not because it's not in any of the other corners.
It's either a thumb, Adrian, or it's the the hood that
Oh, the
sometimes
sun hood.
isn't on all the way. I don't know if it was taken with an iPhone or camera. But if it was a regular DSLR, I'm sensing the hood just wasn't locked on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that was the only thing that I would comment on. Ira, you want to make a comment about this one?
The color palette's fantastic and the capture is great, the way that you captured the smile on the kids and got them in a proper spot. You got the whole body, maybe the tap in the bottom foot or so, but that's not necessary for the photo. The important thing is they should capture, or he captured the photo very well.
I like the diagonal of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just adds a little bit because most people try to look to put everything straight up and down and do it very symmetrically. I like the diagonal, quite a bit on it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it adds to the action component. It's
Yeah.
just like it makes it like more active, that the leg being out and the diagonal, it's sort of like whoosh kind of thing. Whereas if it was straight, it would be an interesting picture, but it wouldn't be as dynamic.
And this might also enhance some of that unhazed filter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would do to the skin tones, but it would be interesting to try. Certainly a good thing to try on a lot of different kinds of pictures. I might crop a little bit off the top, which would help with that black area. Just because there's some area up here where there's just white sky that's not adding anything to the picture. And we have a problem in this corner, so that might help with that problem a little bit, to just crop off a little at the top. Okay, let's see the next one. Anne, you want to start with this one?
Yeah, puts a smile on my face. I have to tell you, I don't really know who the character is, who this was named after. I probably should, but I don't. But what I am liking is the look on the guy's face. And we noticed when we were there, a lot of these guys were bored. They
Yeah.
were like, oh God, nobody's coming, nobody's looking.
Hmm.
But I love the expression on his face and all the crazy cartoon characters all around on the shirts and the hats. It's very colorful. I think it was a very, very nice shot. the, I might have, and we can't really remove, but the T-shirt on the right side that's got the little red marks right in the middle, not so much that one, the one down in the middle.
This
That
one.
one, that one bugs me. But,
You could take off that whole right panel.
maybe, then you might have to take off the bottom panel
Yeah.
and the right side panel.
Yeah.
And then you'd still be left with the, in essence, still the integrity of what you were trying to capture would still be there. I think.
Right. So a crop that would would take off here and a little on the bottom. Just
Yeah.
to maintain the, oh, look, there's a crop thing here.
Good.
Oh, no. I have to be signed into Dropbox, which I'm not.
Yeah. But
Um, yeah.
it would emphasize his look. Mr. Vicious with his T-shirt inside.
Yeah.
What do you think about the top with the railing on the top? Can that come down here? Just to above the auto tags?
Like crop it here.
Yeah.
It's worth a try. It's a little bit distracting. Even with all this busyness, it's a little bit, it's like the T-shirt, it's like there kind of thing. So that
Well,
might,
what bothers you, if you think about it, is all the graphic lines in this, and it's very linear. There's a lot of verticals and a lot of horizontals, and they are dead straight for the most part, except for the box on the top of the box where he is. It kind of is parallel to the, and I think what bothers you is the slant of those lines
Yes.
on the top.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it didn't really bother me. The others bothered me a little bit more, but in essence, a good C, a very, very good C, and a very good attempt at trying to work with this subject, and I think it was good.
yeah, I
Well-
really like it. And I like the fact that you can see into the space that he's in and see
Yeah.
more things in the background. It just, everything adds to the picture. There's all these things, the little pieces over here where there's some waiting to be sold. Just a lot of information here, a lot of fun stuff to look at.
It's pretty
really-
sharp too. Yeah,
Yeah. Really good image. Good see, good image.
yeah.
I'll start on this one. This one, I'm sorry, it blew me away. I think that one of the best photos that I've seen from this group. I really like that it's not really tack sharp, but I love it that it's not tack sharp. I love that there's a little bit of a haze, a little bit of the bear blends in with the background. I think that this was very well captured, very well cropped. I have nothing to say but praise for this photo.
I like it also. I couldn't decide why there's like overlap onto the hat. I don't know why I focused on that, because the overall picture I really like, but something's going on here. It's like, did you replace the background or did you
I-
blur the background?
I extended the top
Oh,
and
interesting.
his hat went with it, and then I had to clone it out.
No, I
Good
think
job.
So Dora, so here's the thing, because I can tell you've been really working with tools. When you work with the clone tool, there's a setting for the brush in the bottom of the tools. And if you're cloning and you're using a softer brush, it'll kind of blend over it. It won't give you the sharper edge. You can adjust that to very hard edge or very soft. I don't think you needed a really hard edge. What you needed was just harder than what you used. And I
Okay.
think then you would have found that you would have had a little bit more definitive edge around the hat. And the best way to do it is to not do it from the background, do it on the hat itself. You make the edge of the hat harder. You can do it two ways. You can clone the top, right, into the hat, or you can clone the hat into the top, into the textured background. Background is very good. You made a good choice. It blends nicely with his colors on his shirt.
I didn't choose those colors. There was his wife and his daughter were standing next to him.
Okay,
So I blurred them out.
yep, but look what you did. I mean, you're working with the clone stamp, you extended, you're working on extending. I might have cropped a little off the bottom. Just up to where his hand goes in his pocket.
Okay.
Since you extended the top, I might have turned around and taken a little off the bottom, but I can see you're working, the wheels are going.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful of picking and choosing your battles when you attempt to do this and to clone and to work with backgrounds and to what it becomes a challenge. So you have to love your picture and you have to really look at it and decide, do you want to spend the time and effort? But for now, to just keep trying to do it to practice, and I do a lot of that. I do a lot of, I'm never going to use it. I'm never going to do anything with it, but I want to see if I can. So very well done. Really, really is well done.
I disagree with both of you, but that's just me. I,
In what way, Ira?
I like the way that the hat blends into the background. I
Yeah,
like
you could. Yeah.
that subtle blending. I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't touch it. Personally, I love it the way that it is. But that's just me.
And I would say that, Ira, I can't disagree with that, because if you in essence wanted a little more blend, she now knows how to do it. But the bottom line is that is a lot of blending, and I've done a lot of texture work too, where I do blend one into the other, and I don't have the hard edge on some of mine. So it all is in the eye of the beholder, and what really Doris likes and how she feels about it. But obviously we all like the picture. We scored it
Right.
high. So
Yeah. I would just, the biggest impression that I have is that, Doris, you knew that you needed more room at the top, and then you chose to try to do it. More important than how it came out to me, that the fact that you recognized that it had to happen and knew what to do, that's good stuff.
all
That's
good
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
ILLG.
I don't know what that was, but whatever.
ILLG.
I'm going to put, is that your phone, Eileen?
Yes, yes, yes.
LLG.
All right. I'm going to put you on mute for a second. Thank you for doing that. Okay. Another, I mean, again, when we look at these images that you guys are sending us, this is terrific. You know, it's got action, it's got motion, it's got color. You pick the right amount of, for me, the right amount of everything to put in here. I didn't need to see the whole whirly thing. I like the fact that the whirly thing is on an angle, that the whole thing has diagonals in it going this way and this way. And that this is all sharp enough that I know what it is. So for me, this was a terrific image.
I like the use of the negative space on the left.
Yeah.
And you have room for the swings to swing out, which is, you know, I always talk about leading edge and stuff like that. And I think that you've nailed it here, that you have the room for the swings to move out of the photo. I thought that was very well seen.
I took a lot of pictures of this and none of mine are as good as this one. And do you want to add anything?
Well, I do like the picture a lot. I like the slant. I like the diagonal. I like the cutoff with the law of continuation. You don't need to see anything more up on the top. I like the negative space. All comments. I think the white is a little bit blown out. So I would have liked to have seen the white highlights come down a little bit on it. But I also have, and this is a matter of it's a matter of choice for me. Sometimes what I do is I like the tack sharp of the pictures in the wheel itself and the column coming down. I would like to see that sharper and yet leave the motion of the people swinging, because they are at the ends of those lines. There's a lot more motion on that part with them swinging around than there is on the actual big wheel. So there is a way to do that in Photoshop Elements, which requires you to mask. So You could, for example, decide to shoot this at a slower shutter speed to get everything kind of a little bit blurred, a little bit of motion. Or you could shoot it tack sharp, higher shutter speed, then go into Photoshop Elements, and then turn around and put a little bit of a blur on it and mask out the wheel. I'm just throwing some thoughts out there as you move forward with this, as you're thinking about it. The whole thing doesn't have to be blurred. You can blur part of it. That's what I'm saying. And maybe we need to touch that.
Yeah, this one's tough because there's seats on top of the wheelie part. See, there's one,
Yep,
2, 3. So you'd have to like, those would have to keep being motion with the other part tack sharp.
I do like the motion. I just think we're really, really growing here in terms of what people are seeing and what they're attempting to do, which is great. Yeah. Very well done. Let me start on this one.
Go ahead.
I happen to think this picture's adorable with the dog. I would have liked to have seen her face paying attention to the dog. But what I think is, and if I had to for me, it didn't really tie in with the theme. It's a tack sharp picture. It's a beautiful emotional picture. There's an attachment between the two. It tells a story. Again, I would have liked to have seen her face, but even then I would have had to have kind of scored it on the lower side only because of the theme. I think people have to really pay attention. There's not a lot of action going on here. The dog is laying down on the ground. She's sitting on the ground. She's petting it maybe. It's kind of laying there listlessly. It's a beautiful picture though, it really is. And it's very well captured with the exception of her face. I would have liked to have seen. So that's my take on it.
Well, I go back to where I go every week, the leading edge. I think that you need to take off from the right and you
Yeah.
need the foot, you definitely need space in front of her foot. She's moving off the photo and we have to, you need the leading edge most of the time. There are times you can get away with it, but it's off-centered, the photo. Otherwise, I like the general capture of it.
Right.
It's a
Again,
really
like what we
picture.
talked about before about taking a few images, although it's probably was a quick moment. If you had moved over, whoever the photographer is, if they had moved over a little bit, this chair wouldn't have been there. And you would have had what I was talking about, a little bit more space here by the shoe. And maybe you would have, I know these were, like curtained off areas, so I'm not sure how much room there was there. But by moving to the left, maybe you would have gotten a little bit of her face, even, just maybe her eye or her nose, so that you'd know that she was there. But I think what's also cute here that nobody mentioned is this dog and this lady are both looking at somebody over here.
Yeah, you
and
see the shoes, yeah.
yeah, which is also cute. Again, if you had been one more step or two more steps to the left, maybe that would have even been more interesting. So, but it's a really good, quick grab. Nice and sharp. The colors are good.
The dog is adorable.
Yeah, really cute. It's like, I'll just lay here.
Yeah, very well done as far as the capture itself. Yeah. Settings on the camera were good.
Okay, Anne, you do a lot of these kinds of things. Talk to
Well,
us.
This was tough for me because there were things about it that I liked. I liked the colors and I liked the graphics of the curvy linear lines and the points coming out to the ends. I liked a lot of that going down. I liked the diminishing perspective of it. For me, what I always look for is if I don't know what the intention was. For me, I would have liked the beginning of it to be in focus and perhaps the end of it with a wide open aperture to be diminishing in clarity as well. Let's put it that way. So as it diminishes and as you go into the back of the picture, you might lose some of the clarity, but the whole thing seems to me to be out of focus. So now the question is, if if you want movement and you're shooting a slow shutter speed, you maybe have a little bit of the people coming out of focus, but there's not enough movement in here to make me want to shoot this and in essence blur it. So I would have gone for a wide open aperture. I would have focused on something a little more up front, and then I would have faded it out into a less clarity in the back. That's my take on it.
I just was thinking that this person was trying intentional camera movement. And I thought that it was, and I don't do that a lot. I just thought if that's what it was, that it was a little too busy for me for that. I just wasn't sure what the intent was. But I also love the colors
I
and
love the colors a lot.
yeah, and the swoopiness of the flags and the points, and so I thought that was really nice.
I think that you would, if this was intentional camera movement, for me, it either has to be more movement so that it becomes more abstract with color, or less movement, one or the other. It's kind of caught in between. It's caught in the middle. That's just my take. Ira, what do you think?
I agree completely.
Yeah. Okay.
This is a fabulous photo. I like the way they captured the moon and the colors of the tram, the overhead tramway. I like all of that. The only thing to me personally is I would have taken off a little bit from the left. I think you have a little bit too much negative space, but otherwise it's a wonderful photo with them going into the moon. I think it was really well seen, well shot, and the color palette is wonderful. It's a very nice photo.
It's a great sea. Person moved. You can tell there was a lot of movement around to try to get the moon in the right position with the diagonal of the gondola going up above. Tack short. Everything about the picture is A+. For me, I would have liked to have seen the photographer take the background or the sky and darken it. So you almost got a little bit of a touch of blue light in it. And it can be done in Photoshop Elements. You can darken that sky. So
Leslie and I we were together and we both took this multiple pictures of this scene.
Yeah.
Because, and the whole thing, what do you think, Leslie? Is she still, yeah, she's here, but she turned herself off.
No,
I
I'm
want to
here.
say did it last like a minute, not even a minute that the moon was
It was
there?
so fast. I
Yeah.
just clicked about 4 or 5 pictures and that was it. Because the clouds came over the moon and that was it. The moment was lost.
And we were so happy that we kept going, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh my
because it was
God, look at the moon.
right, it was like so perfect. And it just was gone by the time we were like, well, we should try this. We'll try this. Nope, gone. But
Right. I
this-
will say to Anne that the picture actually was darker. The sky was a little bit darker. I actually lightened it. I do not have Photoshop Elements. I am very limited with just the tools I have on my phone.
got it.
And
it.
when the sky was too dark, the gondolas were way too dark, and I needed more of a contrast. So I was able to do that by lightening the sky just a little bit. So I could make the colors pop more on the gondolas. So it was a choice I had to make with my limited editing tools.
Well done choice, because without Photoshop Elements, you're right. Your only choice you had was that. So well done.
Yeah.
Really
Thank
well.
you.
The other thing that could be done with this photo is clone out the gondola on the right side, that blue gondola that's not serving anything. And that's easy to do even in, I think you can do it. Yeah, you can do it in Snapseed.
yes. I don't know about that because I don't know about if that was gone, there'd be sort of a hole over here.
Law of continuation. You don't need to see it all. You know it's there. You can tell it's there.
Right, but I'm just saying that I know all of that, but I'm just saying because all the repeating gondolas are a certain space apart, it's sort of like you're going da 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 da, and I don't know. You'd have to look at it without it and with it.
I actually did crop it to see the way it would look. And I did crop a little off the left side. And it just still didn't feel right to me, so I put it back in. You know, it's just so subjective because then
Absolutely.
when I cropped on the right side, the red gondola up on the top right side was too close to the edge. I needed the space.
No, absolutely.
Right, but what Ira's recommending is to clone it out using Snapseed.
Again, I can't, maybe I have to learn how to do that in Snapseed.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, I'm
This,
starting to play with Snapseed a little bit. So, yeah.
I don't know how it would look, but this might make a nice square photo.
It's pretty close to square.
It is
Good.
close to,
Yeah.
but as a true square, it might look better. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what happened when I did take the space off the right, crop it from from the left side, and it became squarer, then the diagonals seem more contrived.
Oh, interesting.
That was my feeling about it. So I put the space back in.
Okay. That's good. All you could do is try, and that's great. that you
Yeah, I
did
mean,
that.
it's just ultimately for me, it's how I feel about the picture, and that was my take on it.
It was a great, you got the moment, you captured the moment, and the colors of the different gondolas and all are just wonderful.
Nice job.
Thank you.
I love this. I love what the photographer chose to include, and the fact that they whether they knew it or not, they're using rule of thirds because this part is off to the left and down a little bit from the middle of the picture. I like the colors. I like what was captured. It's also very sharp. Just really, really nice picture. The only thing I be nitpicky, this one little stray white light on the left side, I might get rid of that. These are fine because there's a lot of them, but just having that one little stray one drew my eye over there, and I didn't want my eye. I wanted it to be black over there. So, but nice job. Anybody else have a comment?
Just a great crop. It's just a
Yeah.
super. And that thing kept changing lighting, so patience pays off. The sense of texture in the middle of it with the patterns going through the center of it is very, very nice shot. Liked it a lot.
I agree.
Aria, have a comment?
Nope. Great
Nope.
photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's another one that made me smile. You just want to smile back at her, this has motion even though it's not moving. I guess because this car is moving forward and she's looking backward, and it just gives you like a sweeping feeling. I really like this picture. It's a little bit orange. And again, I don't know. I'd have to play with it to see if I could take any of that out, but it's it's a time of the day and what kind of lights there were at that particular spot in the midway. But I love the way her nose is crunched up. It's just a really good timing to pick this shot to get. And also on a little bit of a diagonal. You see that with these action pictures, I just think that whenever you can get a diagonal in there, it's like not horizontal. If the car was horizontal, it wouldn't be as dynamic for me as the fact that it's on a little bit of an angle. Ira?
I'm just trying, I love the depth of field. I think the depth of field is wonderful, and it accents the little girl and the car that she's riding in. I just wonder if you can maybe lighten the background a tad and that might take care of the coloring a little bit, but I like the green of her shirt against the green of the gondola. I think it was very well seen. Overall, I like the photo. It's just that the background kind of blends into her, and I don't know if I would want that. Even though you do have a shallow depth of field. I think that making the girl pop out a little bit more would be helpful.
Anne?
So the question is, how was it done? If it was done where there was a texture blur put on the background, and I don't know what, but I think maybe a little work had to be done in the background where some of the black became a little bit lighter, because I think I'm
Like right
losing.
here.
All right, on her hair on the left-hand side, the light's coming, you can see. Light is coming from the right side, coming to her face. So the back of her hair on that left side is dark. I think I might have just brightened the hair up a little bit to give a little bit more texture to the hair. And I do agree that the tonality of it is a little too orange, there's a little tint in it. So it's the black in the background blending in with her hair, and I think the background had to be a little bit more, maybe clone out of this, not the spot healing brush, but the healing brush. And that would take some of the lighter stuff and move it over the black. Doris, did you follow
Yeah.
what I'm saying on that?
Yeah,
Not the spot healing brush, you want the regular healing brush, because it's a cloning thing. You're gonna pull from one area to another, but it might loosen that up and then just lighten the shadows in her hair.
okay,
Very
thanks.
nicely done. You are working really, really hard.
I'm blurring everything, everywhere.
Yeah, well, you're learning.
Mhm.
Well, this was a perfect shoot to practice that on because there was so much going on every place that it really helps the images. If you don't have a really sophisticated lens that lets the camera do that, to be able to know how to do that post-processing makes a big difference. What do you guys think that maybe now that she knows how to do it, she could have added a little bit on this side because the hand is really close to the sidewall?
Not necessary, because her face is what's on towards the right.
Right. Okay.
think that you need bleeding space on this one. I personally don't think so.
Okay.
And I'm okay with it too.
Okay. Great. Next. Okay, so now we've seen all these other pictures, and everybody saw the picture of this same ride at night. This is just a snapshot. I think that it's a good snapshot, but it doesn't do anything to advance the photography part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's just if it was on a little diagonal, if it was, I don't know, something, but it's dead center. There's just nothing special about something that could be special. This could have been brightened a little bit on the inside. There's a
Yeah,
couple of
very
things.
dark, very
Yeah.
dark, and you lost a lot of information up in there. It's just a black blur. Also notice that the swings on the right side, that's where the light's coming from. That's lighter. The ones on the left are in the shadows. I would have probably chosen to take one or the other. I would have made a silhouette out of it and taken off the light side, or I would have taken off the dark side and let the other figures come into the light and tilted. And as Adrian said, a little bit more of an artistic crop would help this.
Right. Very busy at the bottom. There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, if you wanted to take the fact that it's somebody watching the ride for, like maybe their child is up there or something, okay, but it's not even really telling me that because I can't see her expression. She just looks tired.
Yeah.
It's a really good start. I would say this, that the picture, aside from needing a little bit of more light in it, the exposure is a little too dark. But if the exposure was up a little bit, you'd have a really good shot to start to work with and then play with the crop in post-processing. So we've got a nice tack sharp picture. Could have gotten in a little bit closer. I understand maybe the person was looking to get the woman in, tells a story. It's a little more storytelling than it is, but it's a good starting shot. Let's put it that way. Then you had to work it.
Right. So you still could, because the stuff is, the
absolutely.
information is there.
Yep, and it's clear. It's all there. Yeah.
So, you know, pick a part of it that you really like, make a decision and practice some of your post-processing tools. It's a really good image to do that with. Okay, we have one more. Oh, another fun one. Look at her expression.
Priceless.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really also nice and sharp. Shows you how dirty some of these rides are. It's like, this used to be yellow.
They've been around.
Well, I would say one thing, that the focal point was clearly on her face, because that is pretty sharp. We really got a nice isolated expression, which is what this picture is all about in terms of action and her emotions. It's and then the background kind of looks like great color and lighting. I like the picture. I think it's all these pictures are getting better and better. They are.
Yeah. I like what you chose to include.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's fine that some of this person's feet are chopped off. Doesn't matter. There's more people. That's all. And since she is the focal point, it doesn't really matter to me. I know that this other leg is there. It doesn't matter. And
Right.
I'm a techie person, so I appreciate the machinery. You know, another person might have wanted to crop all that off, but I like all that stuff.
Well, you can clearly see she's in a ride. You can tell
Right.
she's in an amusement park. It tells part of the story.
Yeah, good. Ira, you have anything to say? This is our last image.
I don't know. I know that Ann and Adrian will be hollering at me for this.
Why, Hiram? Well, not everybody's opinion matters. Go for it.
I think you could use a little bit of sky replacement. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, you tinted blue a little bit, but the white, the pure white seems to bother me. And maybe try and tint it a little bit of yellow or the blue, or do a sky replacement.
I don't disagree with that. I think I think that's a good idea.
Well, I know, but people, Ann doesn't like sky replacement. She'd want your own sky.
I do a lot
Yeah.
of sky replacements, but here's the thing. If you do a sky replacement in this picture to try to eliminate the white, which basically is a non-focusing part of the picture, yes, it's white, there's no color, there's no nothing. And what does it make you do? To me, it makes me come right to her face, right to the action, right to the character. If you do a sky replacement, it will look prettier in essence. It'll say, oh, look, there's some sky. But the bottom line is it will also distract you from what the picture really is all about. So, yeah, it's a tough call when you have white sky.
Maybe just a
Really
pale,
is.
I don't think I want some sharp clouds in there and all, just a pale blue type of sky.
Oh, and see,
So
I would have
that
done
makes
like a gray, hazy kind of sky.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you both this. What is this picture about?
It's about her. I wouldn't, if I put something there, I wouldn't want it to distract from her.
Right. So the bottom line is, has the photographer caught what is the intent clear? And I think it is. I
Yeah.
don't know that little bit of white. I don't know. I wouldn't do it, but I can see somebody wanting to do it. It might make it pretty. Maybe there's a soft white puffy cloud out there, but sky replacements are a little tough to find, to have, to shoot, and to substitute. So
I have
If
to
that-
tell you all that Barbara Bader, who shoots only with a smartphone, was at the tennis courts. She works for the PAP Corps a lot. So if you've been over at the tennis court parking lot lately, you could see that the banners for the PAP Corps fundraiser are up. And she wanted to capture that to send to the PAP Corps people. And it was a horrible, gray, horrible day. And she took the pictures and then she replaced the skies. And she sent me the before and after, and for this purpose of being able to show the drama of those tennis court fences with those banners on it, she nailed it with the cloudy sky, with a blue sky with fluffy clouds. It was
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect.
Well, it depends upon the scene, you know?
Yep, definitely.
And
Definitely.
that's always a tough decision to replace
Mhm.
the sky or not.
So
Okay, that's our last one.
before we.
Um,
put
Can
a-
I make a comment
Sure.
on the picture?
Yep.
How about if you blur out the boy completely and just focus on her?
This person you're talking about?
Yes?
She is, well, she's not, she's out of focus.
I would like blur him away so that you don't even see a person there.
Oh, I don't personally, I wouldn't do that. I like the fact that this is a ride. There's multiple people on this ride. They're all screaming at the same time, but she's screaming more.
Mhm.
So I like her in comparison to the other one.
Yeah.
So something that Jack has taught all of us in the art of photography, it's come out very often. This to me it's an action shot, but it's street photography. This is a street shot. You saw something quickly, it was happening, you turned, you snapped, you got it. But in a street photograph, there doesn't need to be a lot of emphasis put on editing, removal of things, swapping out this, taking objects out. It's in essence kind of a photojournalistic type of thing where a street shot doesn't require that. It's not something that's what we would call fine art. It's a street shot. So I just kind of, that's how I look at how far I would go with a picture like this. It kind of is my cutoff in my mind about what kind of shot it is and how much editing does it deserve or does it need? Does it warrant?
Yeah.
And also whether, to me, whether the other things are distracting or have value added to the image. So the guy with the teddy bear, you said that the wife and the child were there in the background. I like the fact that they're gone because I really wanted to concentrate on the guy and the teddy bear. And the one where the little girl in the ride car, I think that there wouldn't have been a lot of value added to whatever distracting stuff was in the background. But here, this is all part of the picture to me. And it's all value added. I want to look at both of them, even though I really concentrate on the one that's screaming. I really want to see that there's another person there and she's holding on for dear life. So to me, that's part of how I decide whether I'm going to blur something out or remove it or crop it away.
Yeah, I agree.
So before we leave, I want to put a plug in for February 25th. Everybody mark it down on your calendar because this is a must-do event. It's Sunday, February 25th, and we're going to go to the Renaissance Festival. Okay, big deal. Renaissance Festival is every year. This year, what we're doing is we're going to see steampunk in addition to Renaissance Festival. I don't know if any of you ever heard of steampunk. I know I never heard of steampunk. But when you think of steampunk, think of Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, Victorian era, and focusing on science fiction from the Victorian era. But the point is that you will have the costumes and all the characters from the Renaissance Festival and normally there, plus the steampunk characters. And if you look up steampunk, these are characters that dress up really weird. So this is going to be a phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal event to photograph. So mark your calendars and please come out.
Yep, I'm going to send out that information tonight. So you'll get all of that. And also, for those of you that didn't see, the Computer Club is having a session on AI tonight at 7 o'clock, and the whole community is invited. You don't have to be a member of the Computer Club. It's a gentleman from this community who's a computer person, who's a good teacher. I've heard him before, but I think it'll be interesting, and I'm very interested to hear the questions from the audience and the discussion from the audience. So just so you know that that's happening tonight at 7 in the social hall, not on Zoom.
Is there any time for a few questions from the peons like me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
The picture that had the moon in it, I
Okay,
kept thinking I'd like to see more moon. Now, I'd like the experts' comments on how you could, how to make it bigger, and do you think it would distract? I'm not saying how big, but maybe somewhat bigger.
You can do it, and well, maybe Ann will be better off explaining it, but you can. I don't know if it's too sophisticated for people, but you can put a frame around it and do a transform and adjust the size of it. But I don't think it'll do anything to the picture.
Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find something here, because I think I have a couple of things. If I can find them, give me 1 minute. I can.
I was thinking when you said you were waiting for the moon to come out, that Anne just would have put in a moon anywhere she wanted.
Anna, you gonna want to share something?
Yes, I will in a sec. Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna go stop the share on this.
Hang on. All right. 2, come on, where are you? It's here because I was playing with it. 1. It's the same shot as Leslie's. All right. What do we do with you? Oh, I'm going to show you 4. 4 things. Where's the last one? Man.
I made you a co-host so you could do a screen share.
All right, I mean, 1, I'm finding the one with the moon. I've got 4 up I want to show you, but not there. God, this, oh, here it is. I got it. Okay. Actually, I don't want this one. I want this one. All right, hang on. I've got them all. All right, let's see if this will work. What am I brain dead today?
Hmm.
Here's green.
I don't think that you'd want the moon overwhelming the photo. I think that it's captured, that it's there, and it was just cloudy, obviously a cloudy night.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so that's blue light. So sometimes if you can't edit, stay in the park long enough and wait for the blue light to come out. So that would be 1. But what I was going to tell you is with this shot, okay, let's take this. You could draw a circle around this in Photoshop Elements in the advanced area. And then you can hit Command T and expand it and make it bigger and put it back in the picture. So you can make the moon bigger. I'd have to kind of go through maybe a little bit of that in maybe a workshop. I made the moon bigger here.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I liked it.
Mm.
There was the clouds. It came out for a minute, but it was that small little moon. And I just decided, nope. The other way to do is take another moon that you shoot on another day and just flip it into the picture. So that's another thing that can be done. There's a number of ways to do it. This is, let me see if I can find the other. So this would be another look at the wheel. That was a different, I did a very long exposure on that.
Wow.
I was looking to get something that I hadn't gotten before. So I was on a tear
Hmm.
about that.
That was my other question. In a slow exposure, it would make a beautiful photo. My question is this, though, did you use a tripod or was that handheld?
No, no, Harry, I handheld it. I had my exposure probably on my DSLR was probably down to about maybe 1/20th of a second, might even been longer than that. It might have been maybe 1/5 of a second. And I just held it steady and let it go, because if you're looking to get motion and blur it, it doesn't have to be that steady. It needs to be steady if you're doing tech sharp and you don't want a lot of noise. But it was at night, and so all I did was just drop my exposure setting, shutter speed down to maybe 1/5 of a second. I'll tell you right now what it was. Let me look. It was 1/4 of a second. Okay,
Very
which is quite a long time, but basically all these were pretty much done. I waited for the lights to change, and then I zoomed in or zoomed back out, and none of it was done on a tripod. This
I
wasn't,
did the same thing. I didn't use a tripod. I got a lot of things that were similar. I didn't do that, but I got a lot of things of that Ferris wheel that were similar, and they came out great without the tripod, just at the slow shutter speed. Well, that's cool.
so here's one that I like a lot, and I took the 1/4. Again, you don't need to see the whole thing. I just wanted to bring it down into that composition where I only saw maybe 1/3 of it or half of it. And so that's kind of how I came home. But the question with the moon is an interesting question, but you can swap out a moon. So I would say this, on a tripod, when you see a full moon here in the community, if you've got a tripod, or even if you don't, lean on a fence, lean on a rail, lean on your car, try to shoot it when you got that great big full moon, because then it's easy to swap it out and put it in another picture. This was the moon picture too, the little moon. But what I did was I went underneath the car. I let the moonlight light the car, and I got an abstract out of what was inside the car. And just took various versions of that. And the only other thing I was going to show you is, if I can find it, but I think I did that. This was really a little nutty. There we go. So there was only one arm on this. I took about 10 shots of it with the arm at different locations. And then I just put the arms back into the machine again.
Huh.
Wow.
And made it look like it had 4 claws. And I really don't know if it was good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, it's just, why do it? Because you sort of can. So a lot of these were, now I'm going to show you something else. This was interesting too. If I can find it, give me 1 second, and I'll show you something else that can be done with this. This was done, hold on a minute. All right, I'm looking for one. Hold on, here it is. So that's interesting, because if you look at it, the tower's clear. The spinning all around is not clear, but the figures are clear. So that's what I'm talking about with masking. There are ways to blur everything. And then I simply said, I masked this out. So this was still tack sharp. And then I masked out the people and the chords. And that won an honorable mention in the Spider Awards International. But it's trying to make something out of something that you haven't done. So anyway, that was where that was. Same thing with this. This was like 3 images all combined together. Same biker. So let me get out of here. I can't find how to stop share. Where's my, there it is, down there. So maybe what I can do is I can do a very basic thing. Adrian and I, you and I will talk, and maybe we can find a couple of moonshots. And we'll show how you can take them and move them into another picture.
Okay.
And turn some blue light into it. It's, you know, it's what they call, it's a composite. When you take something out of one, but they are my moons. They're moons that I stood outside here in the street and shot. And oh, and there is one more funny that you'll like. It's from the fair. Hang on. You got to see this because it's very funny. Hold on a minute. This will put a smile on your face. I bet you. All right. Here we go. Okay, South Florida Fair. All right. There's one more. It will make you laugh. It's the shot that Mindy did earlier in the day. Here we go. All right, I gotta, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Similar to Mindy's shot, okay? And then I was bored with it, and Ira, you like this, but it wasn't AI.
Oh.
I took water out of another picture that I had down around the seashore. And that's a simple composite. I just simply took this, I extended the bottom, I just took a little square on it, and I just took my water and threw the water in.
I love it.
It's a little warped, but yeah,
Mhm.
I thought it might put a smile on your face.
It did.
Very cute.
That's a composite. So that's a matter of taking a picture, part of a picture out of one thing and putting it into another. And it's not all that hard. It really isn't. It's time consuming.
In Elements, it's extremely easy.
What was that?
I said in Elements, it's very easy. It does it for you.
It is. The problem is cleaning it up and doing the cloning and the whatever and just cleaning it up. And you need to know how to work the other tools to do that. And we're starting to get there with some of the cloning stuff and the spot healing brushes and whatever, but the moon is simple. It's just take it out, take a circle, put it in, and then blend it out with the sky that you're putting it into. So, all
Okay.
right.
As long as
Thanks.
it doesn't involve layers, I'm happy.
Actually, it does, but you don't know you're doing it. People think they gotta fully understand layers, and you really don't, as much as you just need to know technically how to go about doing it, moving it, and going through the motions. And then I will say to you, yeah, you just created a layer and you'll see it. But so I kind of am a backwoods person with the teaching of that. I think that if you just see, oh yeah, I can move this and I can select it, I can move it, I can put it in another picture, and I'll show you exactly how to do that. And then you'll realize, oh my God, I just made a layer.
I feel the same way, Doris, but that's how I move children who are absent from their bunk pictures into their bunk pictures. It's not all that hard, but don't tell me it's layers. I have like an
Exactly.
aversion.
Exactly. Don't think of it like that. Everybody's
Right.
like, don't.
I wish I
Oh.
could do that in the office.
Okay, this was good. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Monday
for
is
your
the basic
input.
composition workshop. I'm going to send out one more reminder on that one.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Hold
Yeah.
on before you go.
Presentation.
Harry, hold on before you go. I want to say something to you. In your action shots, you had a speedboat.
Yeah,
I liked the picture very much, but it was cut off on the nose of the speedboat. Going to the left, there was nothing in front, but there was stuff in the back. You needed to extend the crop on the front of the boat to make it look like the boat had a little room to move into.
thank you. I'll have to take another look at that because I didn't realize that happened.
Yeah, that was where I was with that shot. 'Cause I said, I really like that shot. But you just needed to have more space on the left. So if you didn't have it, because it wasn't cropped to begin with, then you can go into
Yeah.
Photoshop Elements and extend the crop.
Okay, very good.
Okay?
Well, I want to thank you. One of the pictures I took that I'm going to put in the show was my first attempt at cloning. It was at the Norton with that eraser and the pool in front.
Right.
And the pool had a couple of leaves in it I wanted to get rid of. And it was so easy.
Yeah, right.
It's
Okay,
all
all
good. Everybody's learning. It's all good.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, thank
Bye
you.
all.
Thank you.